But let's go down into the trenches of what I've already said, that the game is won in the trenches. That's where championship football is won. Um, Also, I know that the main saying is that defense wins championships, but your offense got to do it as well. So, but you know, because the offense can take over the game if their offensive line is completely obliterating your defensive line. That time of possession is going to work greatly in the advantage of the offense. So that's something that I look forward to as far as the Gamecocks in the trenches of being able to have that big offensive line that they have, who has been able to accumulate experience, everybody on the starting, and then a couple of reserves. I mean, being you got Malik Young, but coming off the bench, who has had a lot of starts. So it's good to know that you have somebody to plug in there. But man, you got Hutcherson is huge. You got, of course, Bailey, who is huge. Stanley, who is huge. So I was really curious to see what those inside guys are going to be able to do. That's why I want to see when they play against Coastal Carolina, are they just going to blow their ass off the ball, which is what I really hope to see, and really what they should do. But that's something when we're going into the trenches, talking about one of the most important things is that our offensive line is able to control the line of scrimmage in a lot of these games that we play. Because we got a lot of those X factor games that can really determine our season if we're going to be a 10 or 11 win team, or you're going to be a 9 win, or even possibly a 7 win team. Is our offensive line being able to bring pain against some defensive lines that we're going to play throughout the season. So you got Kentucky as one of those X factor games. Texas A&M is one of them. Ole Miss, that's a big X factor game. So that's one thing that I really hope that's going to take place, is that on both sides of the ball, we're able to get penetration, or we're able to actually get into the second level of the defenses with our offensive line and be able to pave way for the running backs. Because one thing is for sure, South Carolina definitely has to improve that running game. But if they improve that running game, which I really think they have a good chance of doing, because a lot of factors are coming back that were overlooked last year, is that Rico Dowdle is a good running back, and he is clearly our best running back. I think we have some solid backs, but he's definitely brings another dynamic to our running game. He's a good pass catcher. I think he's more elusive. I think he has the best combination of being able to be a pass catcher, blocker, being able to run in between the tackles effectively, being able to be strong enough to break tackles. He has great feet. I think he has the ability to be able to do good things in space once given the opportunity. So I think he has the best combination and the best skill set when it comes to running back, as being the leader of our pack. But I think all the running backs can be productive, very productive, as long as that O-line is doing what it needs to do up front. So a lot of things falls into place when it comes to that. So that's what I leave it at. Those boys, I looked it up. Those boys probably measure out to about 6'5", 6'6", 320. So come on, man. Y'all got the size. Y'all got the beef and the experience now, with having over 80-plus starts among the 5 returning offensive linemen on the Gamecock team. So, we're going to see very soon, because no matter who we play, whether if it's East Carolina, Florida, Clemson, or over the past couple of years, there's been some times when there's been situations where the defense knows that we're running the ball. Everybody knows that we're running the ball. The fans in the stands, the defense, of course, our offense, the opposing coaches, our coaches, and it's just a matter of fact of just who wants it more, who's stronger, who's going to be able to just this is just, at that point in the game you really see who is clearly better than the other team when both sides of the ball knows what the play is. But it's just a matter of fact which team has more will to execute that play over the other team. So that's what the type of offensive line I want to be able to see, is that when we have to get the first down, it's 3rd and 3 with 4 minutes left in the game and we got a 10-point lead or a 7-point lead and we got to get that first down and we can put the game away. That's when we need our offensive line to do it. So that all comes into plays with the running backs, because once that running game gets going, then those receivers can get going. When that defense starts cheating up, and you just can't stop everything. Like, that's why this offense is so intriguing, because there's a lot of places that you can see where a lot of people are capable of making plays, and we've seen those players make plays. So it's not one of those things where we're just seeing it with should I say, the garnet and black colored glasses. It's the things that anybody who understands football can see, that South Carolina is highly capable of having one of the best offenses in all of college football. If the one thing comes to light, comes to true, is that the offensive line becomes to be one of the better offensive lines in college football, being able to run block and pass block, being able to do both effectively throughout the entire year, also being able to maintain their health. So that's why our offensive line is pretty much the key to our success. They need to be better than average, and be better. They need to be better than above average, to be honest, for South Carolina to be what they want to be, if they want to accomplish their goals and what they have placed for their season. But this team by any means is not. This is a team that can be very good. Like, there is proven talent on this team. There is some concerns. Safety depth is one concern. Defensive line needs to stay healthy. I do think that we have a lot of capable defensive linemen and some proven guys there who could be very productive. So I guess we're looking at the defensive line. Now we're going to move to defense now in the trenches. So now we're going to talk about, what we have on the other side of the ball, and what, on the other hand, if the other team needs to get that first down and we need to stop them, that our defensive line is able to do it. So we do have some young players that haven't played, but that's the difference, and that's the thing about Will Muschamp's recruiting and T-Rob and that whole entire recruiting staff that they have with this coaching staff, who they're all good recruiters. I mean, it was by design that he has this coaching staff in place, because they can recruit. They can collectively recruit, even though we're in the midst of two schools being national prominent. And the reasons why they're national prominent is because of their recruiting. But somehow South Carolina has been able to maintain and be able to get solid recruits. It's not somehow. South Carolina can recruit because South Carolina has good facilities, great facilities, actually. They have great facilities who are as good as any team in college football. That hasn't always been the case. I remember before Steve Spurrier came, as soon as he came, he realized that back when he was at Florida, they had 50 donors who gave over $1 million or more to the football program, and South Carolina had one. So that was the difference between the programs as far as the money being streamlined into the program to contribute to its success. So, of course, getting money from donors definitely can help elevate a program along with the money that's coming in through the revenue, of course, between all the sales and the merchandise and the ticket sales. But besides that, if you want to be a team that can compete with the best teams in college football, you're gonna need to have a good flow, a good cash flow going into that program where you're able to get the best things necessary to build a top program. So that's definitely something that South Carolina has put a point of emphasis on as far as being able to recruit solid recruits, good players, because South Carolina has a good pipeline of being able to do that every year because of the geographical area of where they're able to go and recruit, and they're all close. I mean, South Carolina could be one of the top teams in college football every year by focusing on these metropolitan areas. I mean, Charlotte being one. There's plenty of high schools in this area with top talent. You got 5A schools, 6A schools, 4A schools here in the Charlotte metro area. Ain't no telling how many schools off the top of my head. Easily you have 40 or 50 schools around here, and then a lot of these teams in this area have D1 talent, and that's the Charlotte metro area. And then also you can go down to, of course, the Atlanta metro area, where South Carolina has always had success recruiting. And then also let me go back to the Charlotte metro area. Rock Hill, all those areas, all those high schools in that Rock Hill area, that's considered the Charlotte metro area too. So not only do you have Charlotte, but you have all these schools down here in Rock Hill that's below, where of course you got they produce the J.V. Dunn Clownies and the Alshon Jeffries and the Stephon Gilmores. They recruit those type of players. Even Coach Simpson before that. Those are the type of players that you can get out of Rock Hill. So, South Carolina, keeping it going down to South Carolina, because Alshon Jeffrey is not actually from the Rock Hill area. He's from St. Matthews. But let me take it back down even lower. Recruiting the Columbia metro area as well. It's a lot of high schools in that area, because I know Alshon Jeffrey's not that far from Columbia. So you consider that the Columbia metro or whatever. But consider that area as well. It's a lot of good talent. Y'all know they play great high school football in Columbia. In the metro area, there's a lot of high schools in that area too. So if you actually got the best recruits out of those 3 metro areas, you can win a championship with that team. But it comes with years and years and years of recruiting top talent from those areas to be able to do so. And that's what every team, does who wins the championships. They dominate getting the best talent in their own areas that are very close to them in proximity. So you got to keep those top talented players home. So, yeah. So, all right. Let me get back on topic, talking about the defensive side of the ball. So when we're looking at this defense, of course, you got DJ Wanham, proven. Brad Johnson is somebody who I'm very excited to see because he's very athletic. I mean, that dude, you're going to see that defensive lineman, maybe one of the most athletic defensive linemen that I've seen in a South Carolina uniform in a long time. And he's probably not even the best one in the best athletic shape, because Javon Kinlaw looks crazy as a defensive tackle, 6'6", 300. I know he's less than 10% body fat, or he's like right around that, but that's kind of insane, being 6'6", 300, being a defensive tackle with less than 10% body fat. So it's going to be a very, very good thing to see if Javon Kinlaw is able to get off this year and be able to make him some money going into the NFL. And Kobe Smith, who the coaches think he's a solid SEC defensive tackle, being able to hold the point of attack as well. So you also got Keir Thomas out there, defensive tackle. He's been in the system for 3 years. So that's somebody who has some experience. I have no problem thinking that he's not going to be a good contributor on the defense. Being able to help control that interior with Kinlaw. So I think he's going to be a good player for the defensive line and the entire defensive unit. So what else we got here? Shamik Blackshear. I don't know. We just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, they say that he's going to be able to contribute. I think he can. I mean, former blue chip player back in 2014 or 2015, one of those recruiting classes. So we're going to see what he's going to be able to do. I know they've been cross-training him, put him inside as well to add more depth to the defensive tackle spot. But I think the coach is going to be able to find 8 to 10 guys. I think it's probably going to be more around that 8 to 9 players being able to be in a solid rotation on a defensive line. I don't think they're going to be a dominant group as far as being able just to push offensive lines back, but I think they're going to be able to create pressure with speed. I think it's going to be a very quick group, and I think that we have enough size, if they stay healthy, to be able to be strong enough at the point of attack as well, to be able to be a productive line, which can help down, of course, to your linebackers being able to be productive as well, because you're able to keep that stalemate, being able to open the holes where your linebackers can see, be able to see what they need to attack, because you have the defensive line being able to not let the opposing offensive lines get in the secondary, and the middle linebackers and that weak side linebacker and that strong side linebacker are able to get in the backfield quicker, or being able to read their keys quicker for more negative plays or more no game plays or short yardage plays. So that's very important. So, and them linebackers, man, you're looking at Sherrod Green at weak side linebacker, TJ Bronson, a middle linebacker. It's an all SEC candidate, tackling machine, had 88 tackles last year. So I think he's going to be able to be that anchor there. So that's somebody, probably one of the most important players on our team as far as health. We need him to stay healthy, because he is basically like the quarterback of the defense. And you got Bryson Allen Williams coming back from injury, who was having a very productive season as well, who was very underrated as far as people not really seeing that his return as very beneficial to the team, or seeing that his return being something to definitely take in consideration as far as how he's going to be able to improve the defense with his presence being coming back from last year. So, and something I failed to mention, talking about also when it comes to our defensive line depth, because I think Rick Sandage is also going to be able to provide solid minutes as well, solid snaps. Snap basketball, I'm saying solid minutes, but solid snaps at the defensive tackle position. I think that's something that we didn't have last year. I think we had a very solid group of starters, but when it came down to the depth, we didn't have a lot of guys that we could plug in that could provide where we could keep the same intensity up, and I think that we have that better this year.
This concludes the M&M Show. Thanks for tuning in.